Hello, I am Wanderer001, and this is the last portion for the Garmin Nuvi 2599LMTHD. It is the navigation portion of the video set. So there are two items which I did not touch on previously, and that is the view map and where to. Now, if we come into the view map, it is just that. It is a view map option, but you do have a couple of buttons that you can play with on this screen. You have your plus and minus sign, which will allow you to zoom in and zoom out on the map screen. But since this is a capacitive touch screen, you can also pinch to zoom in and out. So over here, you'll notice that you have the speed indicator on the left. If you press on that, it will bring up a dashboard with lots of information for you: max speed, moving time, trip A, trip B. If we scroll down, it'll also show you current time, GPS accuracy, and elevation. Now, if we come up here and tap the hamburger button, this will allow you to reset these fields. By clicking it, you can select what fields you wish to reset. So if you just want to reset one of these as opposed to all of them, you can select them individually, or you can select all. So in this case, I'm just going to reset trip B. So you'll notice trip B now is zeroed out. Coming back to the view map screen, if we click on direction, there are three choices that you can have in this: direction, time of day, and elevation. Now, you can only have one selected at a time. So if we select elevation, you'll notice that direction is now displaying elevation. And last but not least, we have over here in the corner a hamburger button of its own, which will bring up navigation items that you can have on the side of the screen. So in this area, we have stop, change route, up ahead, trip data, volume, brightness, traffic, weather, and phone. Now, phone and weather are only if you have a compatible Bluetooth item. You'll also notice that that does go away after a short amount of time. Brightness and volume, trip data, and up ahead you can have at any time. Stop and change route only when you have navigation plugged in. So if I click on trip data, you'll notice that it brings up this little side menu. Now, up ahead will allow you to have this up on the side the entire time you're navigating. And if you want to, let's say you're driving along and you notice you're low on fuel, well, you can come up here, click on the fuel, and it will search for the closest fuel by where you're driving. If we come down here and hit the little wrench, it is a tools option menu for this, so you can choose what options you wish to display. Now, the photo live, you need that subscription service for, so you probably won't need to have that on. Hamburger button, as usual, is a restore function. So now I've brought up the brightness, and I have three other options behind it. So you'll notice if I turn one off, the next one is still there. So you can layer them quite significantly. Well, what we're going to do now is come back to the home screen and click where to. So from here we have several options, which I did go through a little bit before, but we've got go home, address, restaurant, gas station, Foursquare integration, and add shortcuts, as well as categories saved and recent. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to search for an address. We are going to search for and we're going to select the first option here because that's where we want to go. Similar to the 2555 LMT, you can select route, which will show you in a moment how you're going to get there. So this is the pathway it's going to have us take. Now, in the past, it just had a single list that you would have to change manually to figure out if there was an optional way of getting there. Now, this one separates them, and you can see this is the path that it would take to get there the fastest. There are no other suggestions. If we click on information, it shows the address that you put in as well as the time and distance there. So you can either save it to your favorites or you can hit go and just go right from here. Or we come back to here and press go. All right, and away we go. But before that, I did neglect to show you, if you tap on the car icon, it will bring up where you are in latitude and longitude, nearest intersection, and nearest address, as well as quick links for hospital, police station, and fuel. Hamburger button on this one, directions to me. Also, the extra items that you can pull up on the right menu increase dramatically when you are in navigation mode. So arrive in, distance to destination, via point arrival time, time to via point, direction, time of day, and elevation. All right, with that said, we're gonna go navigate to the local school here. You'll notice that Garmin, per usual, highlights the travel route in purple. So we're gonna go do that.
In 1/4 mile, turn right on Letchworth Village Road.
All right, so apparently we confused her a little bit with the spin coming out of the parking lot. Now, it's done this to me before.
Turn right on Letchworth Village Road.
And I cannot determine if it's because of the placement on my dash, where the internal directional is getting screwed up. But once I make the turn up here, there we go. It kind of straightens itself out. It just might be a poor signal, but it's only when I come off of this road for whatever reason. Now, while we're sitting here at the traffic light, I'm going to point out some things. You're going to see right here, the speed limit indicator is for any roads that have the speed limit that are built into the map. Up here, you will notice your directional. So that's going to be like for lane assist and things like that. In single lanes, it's not that big of a deal, but once you start getting into like multi-lane highways, it's very useful to have.
1/2 mile, turn left on Stores Road.
That is obviously her giving us directions. To the left, to the right of the directional is the road that you are going to be turning on next. Now, if you're in a non-navigation mode, that's just going to be the upcoming road. Now, the dashboard down here is a permanent fixture now, unlike in the past where you could change it and have it visually different for, your tastes. That's because they have the current road on which you're traveling. Now, that is something that a lot of people were asking me in the 2555 LMT video. They wanted to know, does it show the road you're traveling on? Well, in that one it does not, but now it does. And over here to the left, you'll notice the speed limit indicator. It is fairly accurate between 1 to 3 mile difference depending on your vehicle and satellite signal strength. So we're gonna...
In 1/4 mile, turn left on Stores Road, then turn right.
Alright, so we're gonna do a full stop, because again, for whatever reason, cops like to hang out in this area. Alright, what I was mentioning about the speed limit indicator in the lower left, if you do go above the speed limit, you'll notice how it kind of starts to shade red. Now, as you can see, I'm going downhill. I'm trying to slow down.
Turn left on Stores Road. Turn right.
Once it gets to that red, that full red on either side, that's as red as it gets. If you go hypothetically, not saying
right on Stores Road.
Not saying I did this in any way, shape, or form, but if you go 20 or 30 miles above the speed limit, it doesn't get any redder than it does. So just know it'll shade up red, and that's just
1/4 mile. Arrive at 153 Stores Road on the right.
And that's going to just be your indication on, you're going above the speed limit. So we're just gonna turn into the school here. And I'm not going to sit like right on top of the school, so that little flag is probably not gonna go away, but I'm gonna get as close to the school as I can to see it turn off.
Arriving at 153 Stores Road on the right.
Alright, and we have arrived at our destination. Now, from here you have choices. If, as you can see, it is still routing, but you come over here and you can tell it to stop or change. Now, you'll notice that the maps will pull in and pull out based on how close it deems what you need to be seeing at that time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the high school where we started, but I'm going to change the GPS into into portrait mode because last time I was doing this I forgot to do that. So the only way that you can bring it into portrait mode is coming back here, going into settings, and then going into display, changing the orientation to portrait. Hit save, and I will readjust the camera. Alright, so here we have it reoriented for landscape mode. Now, as I said in one of the other reviews, there is no accelerometer, so the only way that you're going to be able to change it is by going into the settings there. So if we pull up, see, now view map is at the bottom, I wanted to go to where to. Let's hypothetically say we're going to search for an address, we are going to search for an address again. Shows you 1, 2, 3, next. Kind of the compactness of the keyboard. So it's definitely going to be more of a smartphone layout. Some people might like this. I've been told that people like seeing what's coming up ahead as opposed to where they've been. And in some cases, I can understand that. However, my personal preference is landscape mode because I kind of like to see the side streets so that I can see if they're dead ends if I need to make a turn. But what we're also going to do for this one is we're going to navigate via voice command. Now you notice it didn't trigger this time because I changed the voice command trigger phrase in that video set. So if you haven't seen that, I would recommend going and check that out. But I changed the voice command trigger phrase to computer, find place, North Rockland High School. And there's only one choice. Which will also, I mean, this is a nice view also to see what this particular screen would look like. So we are going to select 1. Navigate.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Now this time I'm also going to make a detour so we can hear what it sounds like when she tries to relocate where you should be. Because, you know, Jill's so smart. Actually, no, this is Samantha. Samantha thinks she's so smart. She knows better than me.
In 300 feet, turn left on 1 community way. Turn left on 1 community way.
So again, you'll notice everything is scrunched up, but they still do keep... A little bumpy over here. They do still keep the street name at the bottom as well as your current speed. At the top though, that's where things get really bunched up. So it's
1/4 mile. Turn right on Letchworth Village Road.
It's a personal preference, really. So as I said before, I'm going to come down this road and I'm going to make a detour. We're just going to go nice and slow because the police officer was up here and school...
Turn right on Letchworth Village Road.
School's kind of closed and we probably look suspicious doing a couple loops. So we're going to make a detour. Notice again, she did not say rerouting or just nagging. It just automatically switched and it's letting you know you're going to turn right up here. Again,
1/4 mile. Turn right on Willow Grove Road.
The calculation speed for the redirect was really good. I mean, you saw how quickly it did it. Granted, it didn't have to change that much, but it still had to change something. Now, you'll notice that
Turn right on Willow Grove Road.
The speed limit is still part of the map when you're in this mode, but you did see when I got to 29, it started to flare red, even though the speed limit here is 30. So what we're going to do now is stop for a stoplight that has no turn on red, so through the magic of video editing, you won't have to see this. Alright, and here we go. Let's see if she thinks she's smarter than me.
In 1/2 mile, turn right on Birch Drive.
Alright, I apologize for the bumpiness, but it was a rough winter, so there are a lot of potholes on the East Coast here because of
In 1/4 mile, turn right on Birch Drive.
the crazy amount of snowfall we had. And as per I thought, it is going to bring me down a side street, which is shorter and fastest distance, even though this particular side street does not have through traffic. You're not supposed to go through here. So just
turn right on Birch Drive.
Keep that in mind. It's not going to be a perfect system. Now, I am going to go through here just to make a point following the GPS.
At the end of the street, turn right.
Now, you may have heard like some of that real direction in there. Instead of saying at the end of Birch Street, it just said at the end of the street, turn right. As I said in one of the other videos, the triggering for the real directions is hit or miss. I'm still not sure what triggers them. I only heard it go once, turn left at the stoplight when we were away on vacation. Since then, I haven't heard it. I'm
turn right on Hammond Road.
Still trying to figure out what triggers that. But you're hearing her voice. Hopefully I'm not talking over her, although she does like to interrupt me for whatever reason. And we're gonna go.
In 1/2 mile, arrive at North Rockland High School on the left.
And at least the directional arrive at destination on right or left does seem to have improved since my 2555 LMT, because
1/4 mile, arrive at North Rockland High School on the left.
that one used to tell me arriving at destination on right for the high school, even though it was on the left. So we're just gonna come in here now. Try and go nice and slow. I don't know if it's going to turn off the direction because I'm going away from where it thinks it is. But nope, it did. We're good.
Arriving at North Rockland High School on the left.
Alright, so once you come to a complete stop, it should turn off the directional. But if it doesn't, I was going to show you tapping there and turning it off. The GPS does come with a split screen for photoreal junction view, which I did try and do when we were away on vacation because there weren't any intersections around here that pops up on. So I'll try and roll those in at the end. They're not going to be great, but they'll give you an idea of what it looks like. Also, if we come here and select traffic, you'll see traffic. It's got no reported traffic ahead. This is that, HD traffic, so it's going to check every 30 seconds. So, I've been Wonder001. This has been the navigation portion of the Garmin Nuvi 2599LMTHD. If you have questions or comments or want me to show a different function or a different navigation option, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.